Milky Way. In the Milky Way is our solar system. In our solar system are 8 planets and one dwarf planet called Pluto. In our solar system is a big star called the Sun, and all planets orbit around the Sun. Out of all the planets, there's one planet called Earth, and it's the only planet with people and living things on it. Out of all the countries in the world, there's one called Australia. Australia has the third largest desert in the world. Out of all the states in Australia, there is one called South Australia, which is at the bottom of Australia. The capital of South Australia is Adelaide. Out of all the places in Adelaide, we're in North Adelaide. Out of all the places in North Adelaide, we're in Channel 9 Kevin Creek Studio. This is a stage face, those are chairs, and out of all the chairs in the studio, you're in the chair that you're in. Home is where you live and is really peaceful and quiet. Home is where you live and where you get food from.
Well, home is where I stay for most of my life, and it's basically the place that I'm used to most.
Home is a place where you live and where you feel comfortable and where you put all your stuff.
Home is the place that I sleep and where my family is, and when I'm over 16 I can move out.
Home is where you live and buy resources and where you eat your food when you go in the supermarket.
Home is a place where you live, and without homes we would have survived. We wouldn't have.
My favourite room is my bedroom
I think of my cubby house. Hi, I'm Sophie and I'm 16. My first house was in Paragould Gardens, which is where I lived with my mum and dad until I was 2. Then, due to the arrival of my brother and sister, we moved to a bigger house in Golfy Heights. To me, this house in Golfy Heights fits the concept of a home much more than my Paragould Gardens house, because I associate it with happy and safe memories of my family. When my mum and dad built my house, they also built a cubby house in the backyard. Now, this cubby house was every kid's dream. I remember it was painted bright green and orange and yellow. There were floorboards that creaked and cracked when you'd step on them because they were so worn. I remember there was a huge blackboard taking up an entire wall that we'd use when we played teachers or artists. We pretty much planned out our futures in that cubby house, whether it be chefs making mud pies or photographers with our $2 cameras. I remember on sunny days, my brother, sister and I, we would sit on the balcony of that cubby and we'd eat swings, which were these great ice creams you have to push out of a triangular tube, and we'd listen to Meatloaf, because my dad got us into 80s rock pretty early. And these memories remind me of home.
Okay, what's the difference between a fish and a guitar? You can't tune a fish. Hello, my name is Joshua James Heft. On the top of my head, I cannot remember how many houses I lived in, but I'd say at least 5. That is because we used to rent them. Now, home to me is where you cannot be judged by anyone except for your siblings. Let me explain. So I casually walked into my sister's bedroom. I just missed the vase thrown at my head, followed by some words that I'm sure I'm going to say in this performance. Anyway, let's continue. When I was a young, stupid, and innocent child, I used to love going to my grandma Hef's house. That's because of 2 reasons in particular. 1, there was a tree out the front, and 2, I got to catch up with my cousin Jake a lot. Now, me and my cousin Jake, we used to love doing what little kids used to do, like stick fighting and throwing rocks at each other. I hated that game. Anyway, our favourite thing to do, of course, was climb trees. Now, when we did try climbing the tree, we never made it that high. But, stupidly one day enough, I decided to try and make it to the top. A little bit lower. A little bit higher. On the left. Yeah, it's around about there. Anyway, as I became higher and higher, the branches obviously became thinner and thinner, until one branch snapped. Now, as I plummeted to the ground, my underwear got caught on a branch. Ladies and gentlemen, I pray to God that is the first and last time I ever get a wedgie from a tree. Anyway, that branch also snapped, and as I plummeted to the ground for the second time, my cousin laughed hysterically at me. Like that. Yes, thank you. You've got an amazing audience. Getting a lot of Facebook messages about doing wedges for trees. I don't really want to do it, but thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Jade. I'm 16 and I have 2 houses. One, where I live with my stepdad Lirio, my mum, and my brother Lucas. And my dad's house, where I live with him and his girlfriend Jessie. Both of my families are very supportive of me, and I love them very much. But a home to me is where I can be myself and I feel safe. I love exploring. And when I was younger, I lived at 13 Hereford Street, Enfield. It was the first place I grew up in Blue. It had 3 rooms. One for me, one for him, and one for my parents. I used to think of the house as this massive mansion think about it, I was a pretty disruptive child. Soon enough, our backyard had turned into a crime scene. There was sticky red juice covering our backyard. It looked like an episode of CSI. My mom came outside and almost had a heart attack. She explained that the alien fruits were actually called pomegranates. Now, it's not the smashing that makes me think of home. It's that I was doing what I loved, exploring, and I was spending time with my mother. And even though my parents are split up now, and maybe I don't spend as much time with Luke, and our house has been sold, I'm glad that I can still visit my home.
Hi, my name's Rebecca. I have 2 siblings. One's older and one's younger. I was born on the 11th of August 2002 in England. And after a while, my mum and I decided we would move down to Minter Bay to live with my sister, dad, Nana and Pa. And last year, I had a birthday party. 6 of my friends were invited. One of my friends told us this thing about Peter Piper. Apparently you say Peter Piper take you to your grave and never return. And your arms start to come up and start to strangle yourself. Anyway, one of my friends is paranoid about everything scary. And then another one of my friends needed to go to the toilet. So we all went, but none of us looked in the mirror because of Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary's this girl with little cuts on her face. And she pops up in the mirror when you say her name a couple of times. Anyway, after that, we all got to sleep. Even though we could hear scary noises like the trees howling and the wind howling and the trees bashing against the window. And in the morning, my sister said that it was just in our imagination. But my friends and I still think that my house is pretty scary.
When I was 10, I was given the choice to move over here, to Australia, or stay in England. And since my parents were divorced, it was like choosing between my mum and my dad. I chose to move over here with my mum, but it made me think of home. For me, you need 3 things to be at home. You need to be together, 100% yourself, and most importantly, it needs to be love. In all of this is home. This shows the difference between my 2 houses. One being a 3-story house which is connected to another house and was in a kilometre radius of all my family to my house down under, which was isolated from absolutely everyone, especially my family. But I always had my immediate family. My mum is the best. She always gives and never takes, and she keeps the house running. Simon, my stepdad, although he isn't my real dad, he treats me like a son, and I know that he loves me. Although I don't see my real dad, I haven't seen him in over 4 years. I know if I need him, he'll be there for me. Anyway, when I was 7, my parents decided to go out for the night, and they left my big kid of an uncle, he's kind of 29, to look after me. And me and Robert, we used to bond over everything. Soccer, video games, but especially poker. How does a 7-year-old child get into poker? But I did. And this particular night, me and Robert stayed up way too late watching poker, and we went to bed pretty late. Everything was normal. Alarm set, all the lights are off, normal. And then a light came on. And another light. Robert was worried. First thoughts, grab a weapon. Robert was ready to swing at anything he thought was an intruder. He noticed that all the lights were on in the house, including upstairs. My room. When we woke up in the morning, we argued like 5-year-olds, back and forth, until we started laughing. And that's a memory that reminds me of home.
Hi, I'm Jada and I'm 14 years of age. I live in Australia but I'm fully Italian. Going on a holiday to visit my family. And my godsisters, Sara and Federica, invited me for a sleepover at their house. Well, let's just say apartment. It was up in a tall building. And the first night, Sara and I stayed up really late. A bit too late. We ended up regretting it in the morning since we were the last ones up. I remember walking into the lounge room and seeing, almost collapsing because of how much light was getting through the windows, and seeing Federico watching my favourite show, Tom and Jerry. It was my favourite because I didn't really understand Italian and it had no words. I remember walking into the kitchen and seeing my favourite bag of Italian biscuits with a fresh cup of milk next to it, and I smiled because it's just, they knew me. They still do.
This is not my home. Is my house really my home? If all the loved ones are gone? There are flashing lights in my mind, telling me that everything has lost hope. I feel like my world is shaking, breaking. I'm losing control. Please take me back to where simplicity was all. But the real thing is, a home doesn't exist in the physical. It cannot be created through any type of carpet, brick, or wood. Our home comes from our head. Our home comes from our mind. But most of all, our home comes from our heart. And nothing can take me away from that place.
100% yourself. And I go to a private school, King's Baptist Grammar School, and the best thing about school is my friends. My friends are always there for me, and for some reason, they always find a way to make me happy and laugh. Weird. But so whenever I have a birthday party, I will always invite my friends. Just so, you know, when I have a great time. But on one particular instance, people are different in many ways.
And whenever she wants something, she'll make these big puppy dog eyes and cry and beg. Like that. Which won't sort of mean much to my parents' dismay. Now, my second dog is Carlos, who is the biggest energy ball of a dog that I've ever known. And when he's excited, he'll spin and he'll spin and he'll spin and he'll spin. And it makes you dizzy just looking at him. I got bullied. And then they left me. But when I got home, my dogs would run to me because they loved me for me. They didn't care whether I had no makeup on or was having a bad hair day. They were just excited that I was there. They make me so happy. They're my best friends, and that's why I love them, and they're my home.
Meatloaf? And I would do anything for love. Yeah, I would do anything for love. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
We won't do that. So I remember on sunny days, my brother, sister and I, we would sit on the balcony of our cubby and we'd eat swings and we'd listen to Meatloaf. My cubby, where I spent the best parts of my childhood, is gone now. A few years ago we had to get it demolished to make room for a granny flat. They don't make swings in triangle shapes anymore. I don't listen to Meatloaf either. I've had to grow up. Now all I have are the memories of my childhood. When I think of home, I reminisce on memories made day by day. I can see my family smiling full of love. I
think of home, I reminisce.
Studios. This is Stage Twist. Those are out of all the seats in the studio, you're in the seat that you're sitting in. The studio's in North Adelaide. The capital of South Australia is Adelaide. Which is in South Australia.
Which is in Australia.
Which is in Earth. Earth is in the solar system, which is in the Milky Way.
The Milky Way is one of the many galaxies in the universe.
So, where's your home?